Technology will be the death of me, I swear. If I ever go, it's going to be because of technology. Like, something's not going to work right, or who knows what, but it will most definitely be technology. In any case, hi everyone, I'm Sid Part 2, and I'm here to do comic reviews. I'm joined today by my co-host, Danny Lizard. He says hi. He wanted to be on live stream again because if you didn't notice, there was a live stream earlier this week that featured Danny the Lizard. Just him in his cage for like 5 hours. I made a brief cameo, so I thought it only fair that he cameo on my live show. It felt appropriate. So anyway, who we got here in the comments tonight? That's hard to tell because there we go. There it is. Anyway, got Joel and Red Leader. Hey boys. That was an awkward way to say that. Sorry. Anyway, we got a handful of books this week. Pretty good amount, and I want to get right into it because it's kind of late, and I'm an idiot and forgot to go to the comic store not once but twice today. I forgot to go during my lunch break, which is when I normally go get comics, and I also forgot to go when I got off work to go home. I just went straight home and didn't realize till I was almost in my driveway, basically. So I had to turn around, and I'm an hour late. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it with the last thing I read, which was Black Hammer number 7. So far we've gotten all introduced to all of the characters and who they were and what their deal is, what hero they're inspired by. We've gotten background on them. We found out more and more about their situation as they live on this farm. We even got an annual that went into their individual backgrounds more and more. This issue finally progresses the story and gives us one final background, and that is of Black Hammer, who is inspired by Thor, Green Lantern, and Jack Kirby's New Gods. He's kind of a mix of all those things. The most direct pull to Black Hammer is certainly the Black Racer from Jack Kirby's New Gods, but there's this scene with what's his face, Joseph Weber, and the former Black Hammer, where this guy is he finds this dude in an alley bleeding to death and takes the hammer and becomes the new Black Hammer. Man, I'm got too much shit. He becomes the new Black Hammer, basically, and all the other stuff is it's very inspired by Thor. I mean, just look at this guy in this panel, and he looks very much like Odin but black. But there's also quite a bit of Kirby Fourth World stuff in here. The Escaper, my son, and once a prisoner of anti-gods terror trenches. Obvious nod to Kirby. But yeah, we get more background on them, and we get what happened to Black Hammer when they first arrived in this alternate reality situation. And this is one hell of a graphic image, so be forewarned. Wow. Just woo. So that's what happened to Black Hammer. They're pretty sure he's dead. They're damn certain. Look at that. He's asleep. He's closing his eyes because he doesn't want to see. Yeah, they're damn certain what happened to him. So you get a lot of background in this. And there's quite a bit of heart still. Like, someone asked me what's the difference between this and other stuff that breaks down comics in a meta sense like Watchmen? And it really is just the heart that this book has. This has so much more heart than anything than Watchmen does. I'm scared, Daddy. I don't want you to die. I won't die, Peanut. You promise? I promise. With all your heart, with all my heart. And then he goes off to fight the monster, kind of a cross of Galactus and Darkseid. And they get teleported away, and Black Hammer dies. Then you get this conversation with his daughter, where she says, he promised he wouldn't die, as she's an adult and has found the other heroes of Earth's golden age. Wow. That's a really right to the chest there. It's just good, guys. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a lot of, like, this is a very poignant cover. There she is as a little girl at his grave with the ghost of her father standing behind her. That's really poignant. I'm really interested to see where this goes. Keep it in mind, she doesn't remember how exactly she got there because those memories were wiped by the witch lady, Dragonfly Witch. The Lady Dragonfly, I think her name is. So yeah, I'm really curious to see where not only the plot goes, but this is definitely a very character-focused story, so I'm curious to see how that develops as well. Let's go ahead and move on, why don't we? To Star Trek Green Lantern number 4. I want to just hold this cover up and wait to see what people in the comments say. Because, man, that is a fun cover. I couldn't help myself. I can't believe I did it. I'm always so good about not doing this. But guys, I was in the comic shop and I saw this cover and I was like, I gotta do it. So I paid $8. $8 for a single issue comic that's usually only $4 just for a fucking cover. Oh, I can't believe I did that, but it's so worth it. Everything about this is worth it. Like, it's pretty freaking hysterical, the levels to which this is not at all what's happening in the comic, but I really wish it was. It's just so good. I know, Red Leader's like, $8, damn me, and your wallet is going to kill you. I know it is, but look at that. Tell me you don't want to own that. It's really unfortunate because I used to just get variant covers same price because my old comic shop used to just give you variants if you were like subscribed to the book. They just randomized it. They get like X number of variants because of the way the stores distribute them. They just give you those at the same price as an incentive for going with them. And that was cool and all, but I don't care too much for the variant covers in and of themselves. I care more about getting my books consistently, which almost didn't happen this week, but luckily it did. So I couldn't help myself. I just had to go for it, guys. It was just too good to pass up. I've got a lizard and he's sleepy, and I'm putting him right there so he can be asleep on the desk because that's what lizards do. But yeah, that's such a good cover. Like, everything about this I really, really like. Oh, imagine the Corps having like a fleet with non-GL personnel. That would rock. Oh, that is a good idea. I could dig that. That'd be neat. Or like you could have a Green Lantern that started his own military office or military branch to help patrol his sector. That could be really, really interesting. Like, man, I'm gonna drop some fan fiction on y'all now. Like for people just arriving, we're talking about how awesome this cover is, but it's spun some fan fiction on me. So imagine like a society similar to the Federation, and a member of the Corps dies on a planet inside the borders of the Federation, and the Ring chooses someone like Kirk. And then instead of just going off to be superhero Green Lantern, because that's not specifically what they're meant to do, you could have a member of the Green Lantern Corps believe so completely in the tenets of their civilization and like the code of Starfleet that they could actually set up their own, like they could help envelop their own military, envelop Starfleet into the Corps as like deputized officers of the Guardians. Huh. Man, that's a really neat idea based off Red just making like a quick little remark. Oh man, I really like that. That's a fun idea, Red. Careful now, because the last person who gave me some random little comment about, oh hey, wouldn't it be cool if this was a thing, ended up inspired me to write some goddamn fan fiction audio drama that I'm casting now 6 months later. Ugh, man. Anyway, so yeah, Star Trek Green Lantern, Stranger Worlds #4. Let's get into the actual story. There's not much actual story. That it's not a bad thing. It's just it's kind of there. This just kind of this is just kind of like a fun book. It doesn't really make a ton of sense, but you know, whatevs. I'm good. Guardians show up in this. They're pretty passive, all things considered. Hal and Khan fight, but Hal gets his ass kicked because his ring's running out. Khan escapes with the ship. All the Green Lanterns are completely out of power, and they're having a conversation on the bridge of the Enterprise, or on the conference room of the Enterprise. Khan wants only one thing: to conquer. He and his augments pose an immediate threat to the security of the Federation, specifically Earth itself. How? Khan's ring will eventually run out of power like ours. Right now, his rage is boosting whatever Atrocitus had left. But Spock's right, Hal. We can't leave when Khan's on the loose. Jim, if Sinestro gets to Oa and recharges his ring first, if he takes control of the central power battery, augments will be the least of our problems. And then Spock, the dilemma we face is considerable. But in my experience on the Enterprise, I have come to believe that no scenario is truly unwinnable. I don't know, that was just a cool little conversation. Yeah, just shit going on. So Sinestro takes control of the parallax entity who's trapped inside the battery still in this dimension. Cool. I'm just excited to see more. It's not a great sign about a comic when the thing that I'm most excited about is this great cover, but at the same time, it's a solid, you know, whatever story. I'm certainly engaged. It's not by any stretch of the imagination bad. It's just, yeah, it's all right. Cool little twists and moments here and there. Again, I feel like this has the same problem that the previous run did, wherein we get 6 issues to tell a story, and we've now spent 4 of those setting up for a big fight that we're going to probably spend another issue setting up for, and then finally deliver on in the last issue. This one, however, this part of the series, the second volume, there's the word I want, second volume, is a little bit better about it, because I feel like Khan is going to have a substantive addition to the fight, unlike the Gorn and the Romulan that we introduced in the last issue, or in the last volume, that just showed up and then they were gone. Khan feels like he's going to be substantive to the overall story. So do the Manhunters. So does Sinestro. Everything feels like it's actually going to be a big part of the story. So I'm looking forward to that. Otherwise, anything else good in here? Oh, I love this little moment just because Scotty's totally getting cock teased the same way he teased past Earthlings. This is between Hal and the Manhunter. Do you Manhunters use teleport gates to get around the way you did in my reality? Yes. Perfect. So the Enterprise can use them to reach Oa. Scott. Excuse me. Teleport gates? And then just no other mention of it. Just blue-balled Scotty. Red Leader's asking, how is this book $8? The normal issue would be $4. Because it's a variant cover, it cost $8. Some stores do variant covers that way. They only get a limited number, so they just jack up the price on them, and you're paying for the cover. That's entirely what I did, and that I'm not proud of myself. But at the same time, can you really blame me? Can you honestly tell me if you were like a Green Lantern fan like I am? All right, we'll take Green Lantern out of it. Imagine that you walked into a store and you saw on the rack Spock and Kirk with like lightsabers battling each other as an official licensed piece of art and not just some fan art on the internet. So yeah. See, there you go, and that's exactly what it is. No, I would never pay $20 for a single issue comic book that's new. This, however, did seem worth it. Like, I really love this. Like, even the way the energy coming off Kirk's ring is, it's like not modern Photoshop techniques. I mean, obviously it was made with modern like art and Photoshop techniques, definitely, but the way it's drawn is meant to reflect the way that like energy and beings of non-corporeal beings were visualized in classic Star Trek. So I really, really appreciate that. That's a lot of really nice attention to detail. So the thing I love, I will say, for an $8 cover, that's pretty much worth it to me. I'm excited to see where the rest of this goes, but the main thing I love about this is the cover. This is going straight back into a bag, not to be removed again. Normally, I don't get too anal about it. Like, I got whole stacks here of stuff. I'll get to putting that away. And I just haven't yet. This one, since I paid so much for it, and I should feel pretty bad about paying that much for it, is getting put back away. But, man, that's so worth it to me. And this is also why I don't put comics in bags when I'm doing the show, is because reflection. Oops, that happened. All right, let's go ahead and move on to Tales from the Crypt. Number 2. Oh, finally this book is back. It's been forever. Sorry, I'm annoying you, lizard. He's looking at me. He looks so pissed. Tales from the Crypt. Oh man, I was really worried that they're just going to do like one issue and then leave us, but no, they finally put out a second issue. Bernie Wrightson, recently passed away, and so I have no idea how they managed to get it together so quickly, but it was really cool that they did. They got this issue out, and they were able to bookend it with stuff he'd done for them back in the day. There's this little, 2-3 page story called Stakeout that's just a quick little thing he did back in the 70s for them, where he wrote and drew it, and wrote being certainly appropriate but not very substantive, since it's all just art until the very, very end. But that was just really cool to see. I think they went back and modernized the colors, but that was really neat. Anyway, I was pretty happy with that, and then they end it with the story he did as well. What's it called? Feed It. They don't put a date on that one in the front. Do they do it in the back? Yeah, you can definitely tell this one's a lot older. They didn't update the colors, I don't think, on the last story. They might have updated the lettering. But yeah, this is an old story from the vaults of horror back in the days. People are laughing about or making jokes in the comments. So yeah, we got 3 stories still. Got the letters page, and then we got 2 stories in the letters page, and then this little backup. I don't know, 3 stories if you count Stakeout. So that was cool. Okay, so let's go story by story. Let me just say to start, Crypt Keeper in 2017 is the greatest thing ever. I love the Crypt Keeper. I love his awful, awful puns. And now we exist in a world where you can have one word be both an adjective, a noun, and a verb. And that's great. We've really done some strange things with language. And so do y'all like Red Leader asks, is he saying hashtag and stuff? He is saying hashtag and stuff. And they're really, really working the puns, man. Do you all? I'll take just a quick poll in the live comments. People watching after the fact, this is why you show up live, because you cannot stop or you cannot encourage this. Y'all want me to read his intro and outro in my Crypt Keeper voice? Anybody? I need someone to tell me, should I read this shit in my Crypt Keeper voice? Yes, I got 1 yes. 2 yeses. I'm waiting for any no. 3 yeses. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Slay cheese, boys and ghouls. It's me, your favorite internet troll, the Crypt Keeper, trying to fright balance my not-so-smart phone. Ready to take your picture in unliving color. Get ready to lose your selfie-respect, because it's back to ghoul season, and I'm ready to expose a fear fable. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but I shudder to think how many words this next tale is worth. Probably enough to make a poor Gabby want to kick the photo bucket. Look at the birdie and get ready for the body shaming terror tale I call Picture Perfect. And then we get the story, and a girl is carted off to jail for murder and blah, 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 blah. And I'll get into all that. But the Crypt Keeper, at the end, looking at her mugshot. Now here's a pic Stacy can post on to Facebook. Or maybe Gabby will post online. After all, they say revenge is sweet. Up next, the old witch tells a tale that's sure to go viral, or at least make you sick. I am in love with 2017 era Crypt Keeper. Oh man, I will hate the new show if it doesn't do this. Oh man. Okay, so like the last issue, it's not as politically charged. But it's definitely taking commentary on, modern society and going places with it. Like this first story is about cyberbullying. I mean, the characters are flat and one-dimensional. I don't care. It's fucking Tales from the Crypt. What did you expect? But yeah, you have girls in the locker room changing. The popular girl takes a selfie, and then this girl who's like overweight and stuff and getting changed has her picture taken from behind without her knowledge. And she doesn't quite realize it, but she suspects it. And then the other girl posts it online, and it goes viral, and people are like hanging it up in the schools and making fun of her and all this other shit. But she doesn't have a way to prove it. Well, anyway, Stacy goes out and gets drunk and then decides to drive home, and on the way she kills a guy. Love this page, by the way. Oh, I really love the way this looks. So yeah, you get this awesome sequence of her, dealing with guilt, which is a big thing in Tales from the Crypt classic too. And then she goes to school the next morning, and someone took pictures of everything she did. And it was this other girl that had her picture leaked online. When I had my new photos developed, they all turned out like this, but I didn't take these, because it's this whole you don't have any proof thing. And then yeah, she gets arrested. And I don't know, that's a good Tales from the Crypt story. Matthew Bennett says in the comments, it's like someone out of touch wrote that, but also someone who just loves puns and taking the piss from modern pop culture. See, I don't really feel like it's out of touch. I feel like this is a very poignant and real thing that's happening in this day and age. And so I think it's clever, tongue-in-cheek writing that Tales from the Crypt is known for. I would say read more original Tales from the Crypt, and you'll get a real sense of the stuff that they're dealing with here. It's always a bit schlocky, over the top, and meant to be a bit silly. The point of the Crypt Keeper as a character, and the others, but Crypt Keeper for life. I believe that the point of the Crypt Keeper was to lighten the mood, so you would be more willing to accept it. Be more willing to accept the grotesque and stuff, and the poignant, through a lens of a bit of over the top kind of schlocky humor. And so that really works for me. The second story I really didn't care for. This is the Old Witch's Tale. It's called Undertow, and it's told a lot visually, but I still can't help but feel like I missed something. There's just like this big. The art's really ugly too, but that could be fine, especially in Tales from the Crypt. But there's just this big jump in what happens, and it feels really out of place. And so I wasn't super happy with the second story. Though I do like that the horror host talked to us the old witch. Hold it right there, Pigpen. If you're expecting the old witch to tell you another terror tale, you better clean up your act. Seriously, you're quite a fright. At the very least, you can use some hand sanitizer before turning any more pages. Fun, acknowledge we're in a comic. Good, you did it. So they actually expected you to go up and wash your hands. So I don't know, I enjoyed that part of it. But this story, like the art's just, these faces are pretty hideous. And I get they're trying to capture a certain mood, but I think it goes a little too far. I don't know. And then again, there's just this huge jump that doesn't quite feel like something from Tales. And that kind of bothered me. You get some letters pages. People are annoyed with it. It's like, what? The whole point of Tales from the Crypt is the catch or the hook of the story. Then the story either concludes with a moral lesson or a scary and horrible ending of the protagonist. No. Like that's a pretty big staple in Tales from the Crypt, but not every story ends that way. There's not always a catch or a comeuppance that you can't see coming. I mean, it doesn't take a ton of know-how to figure out, oh, hey, they use a formula. The character doing bad things in the beginning of the story is going to get some kind of comeuppance. It's just depending on how clever you feel that comeuppance is, I guess. I don't know. I, however, was not let down, so I don't know what this person's talking about. And then there's the Feed It story, which is the revival where basically a guy has like this really good example of mystery, or not mystery, foreshadowing. Oh, what's the term I want? Illusion, suspense is a good way to put it. It's a really good use of suspense in a horror context because the story is called Feed It, and instead of describing what it is throughout the entire story, they just say, "Hurry up, you fat lout! We got to feed it before dawn." Just skip to another part. Shut up! The American circus promoter will pay me well for it. Just a lot of like it. We never describe what it is. And then like this guy feeds his assistant to it, and all we see is like vaguely some scales right here. Like we don't know what it is. But then on his way out, the owner trips and breaks his spine. He's paralyzed, and he's just outside of its cage. And then we get the page turn, and it has eaten the assistant, but it's a giant snake. And so it's got this big bulge in its body, but it's going to digest that bulge. And this guy is stuck here, like unable to move, looking at this monstrous animal, stuck, waiting till it digests enough to slink through the bars and get to him. That's cool. That's really cool to see. I really enjoyed that. Again, that was just a really interesting way to do that reveal. I appreciated that. The stakeout story by Wrightson was pretty cool too. It's just this guy breaks into a graveyard, opens up a coffin, finds a vampire, puts a stake in his heart, and apparently that's just the thing he's gonna do is keep opening up coffins and staking vampires. But then he opens up another coffin and freaks out, and we see that it's the hosts in there. That was just a cute little story. Sorry to see that guy go. Seemed like he was a pretty talented writer and artist. Was he the artist too? Yeah, writer and artist, and then it was recolored. Laurie E. Smith recolored, I think, both of his stories. Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, okay, because they re-lettered everything, which makes a lot of sense. But yeah, that was a solid issue. Please more than one once every 3 months. That's my biggest critique. Let's go ahead and move on to Wonder Woman, number 19. Here we continue the Truth story arc. And again, it's good. It's interesting. It's this gap. There's just such a big gap, and it's making it really hard to keep up with what's going on, because I'm trying to keep up with 2 stories, and like, it shouldn't be a problem, but it is. Waiting 2 weeks between issues, but getting 2 different stories at once. And the weird part is these stories are informing one another. It's just, how do I put this? Wonderfrau. It's just slightly difficult to keep up with when it's done this way. Am I the only one having trouble doing that? The way that it's flipping back and forth between these stories? Like, I understand they're informing each other, but even if it was only monthly for each book, which is basically what it is, even if it was only monthly for each book, I still can't help but feel like I'd have an easier time keeping track of what's going on if it was just Wonder Woman Year One and Wonder Woman Current. Truth is still going on, but it's like the second arc in Truth. What's it called? Godwatch now? The Truth Part 3 is what it's called. But this is like, must be the 3rd chapter of the Truth then. It's a long arc broken up into sections. Red Leader. Just asking about the Truth still going on. Yeah, it's all part of the same story, so you will be hopelessly lost if you didn't start reading from issue 1, or if you don't go back. We're introducing this technology villain. See, I had like this thing. I'm reading the Earth or the Year One book. I completely spaced that the business executive lady and the technology AI are the villains. In the current stuff, I should have been able to tell that's what's going on, but I couldn't. Philip Kelton is here. Philip. Danny says hi and thanks you for watching his live stream. You can stay right there and be adorable and fall asleep, because that's what he'll do. Anyway. Yeah, they're just, I don't like the way this switches off. That's continually my problem with it. It just causes a whole heap ton of issues trying to keep up with it. I like this page. That was a really cool full page spread to see. I thought that was neat. He's asleep on this side. Matthew Bennett says Danny needs his own YouTube channel. There's an idea. Danny, do you like the idea of having your own YouTube channel? Honestly, I could do it. Tell you what I'll do. I will start a Kickstarter to get my other laptop fixed so it can actually run with a power cord in it. And I will set up a YouTube channel for Danny running from that laptop. And we can get a Patreon to buy Danny stuff. There we go. Danny already has his own YouTube channel. I just borrow it, huh, Danny? You're the real Sid Part 2. Pretty good cliffhanger ending. I don't know. I feel like this is good. I'm just having a real hard time keeping up with it. Staying invested. I'm having a really difficult time staying invested. I think that's my biggest problem. Not a ton to say because yeah, this happened. This had a cool cliffhanger. All right, let's go ahead and move on to Batman Beyond #6. The Coming of Curare. I can't remember how to say this girl's name. This book is so confusing. Curare is being chased by the League of Assassins. I'm sure you've seen this shit advertised everywhere. I'm seeing it in all kinds of books. But yeah, Bruce is back in the Batcave. They've set up the Joker to come back. Curare goes to Gordon for help, Barbara Gordon, that is, and she takes him up to, or she goes up to the roof of the police department to try to contact Batman, and the assassins come to get her. Meanwhile, Terry and Dana are having trouble with their relationship and where to go from here. And this creates an interesting point to analyze a distinction, character distinction, between Terry McGinnis and Bruce Wayne, of which there are obviously many. Okay, so what makes Bruce Wayne Batman? Batman doesn't give up, ever. Batman has endless drive. We've seen this situation a lot in Batman comics where he sees the signal, and no matter what he's doing, he puts it down and goes out to be Batman, goes out to fight crime. We give Terry and Dana this conversation about how he needs to be his own man, he needs to do his own stuff with his life, and he can't always be Batman. He needs to, put some effort to something else in his life besides being Batman. Otherwise, he's going to end up old and alone like Bruce. And so we see kind of the ultimate moment of that, where Barbara Gordon, in a battle with the League of Assassins, risks everything, fights tooth and nail to be able to plug the bat signal in. And Terry sees the bat signal as he and Dana are about to kiss and make up. She says, "Classic timing. Looks like you have to go." And Terry says, No, I don't. Not this time. I'm willing to sacrifice, do what I can when I can, but I can't totally lose myself in Batman. This is an interesting character distinction. Damn, Red's pissed. This is an interesting character distinction between Batman, between Bruce Wayne and Terry McGinnis, because I don't feel that's out of character for Terry. Terry very much is a young man who wants to have a life of his own in a lot of ways. And he was just through a bunch of experiences where he almost lost that. And so Terry McGinnis is very much not Bruce Wayne, but he is still Batman. So does Terry have the same drive? Can he truly be Batman? And I don't know. It's a really interesting question, and it's something I'm excited to see where this arc goes as we introduce League of Assassins, Ra's al Ghul, all that jazz. I find that a perfectly believable place for I find that to be a perfectly believable place for Batman to come from, and for Terry's character to go. I think that's a really interesting idea to explore further with him. This is the problem with opening the desk drawer. I cannot keep my hands off of shit. Let me read some of Red's comments, because he raises a great point. He gave up his life when he became Batman. To be Batman, you must give up being Terry. You die because you are Batman, and Batman is suicide. I do like the idea. Yeah, me too. I agree. Batman is a commitment of your life. The classic question is, how does Batman go out? He does not fucking retire. As much of a contradiction of that as Batman Beyond is, he does not retire. The end of the story of Batman is he's dead. Sometimes he dies heroically, bravely. Sometimes his death is small, ironic. Sometimes he's stabbed in an alley. Sometimes he's shot in the head. Sometimes he saves the city from a bomb. But the end of the story of Batman is he's dead. And yeah, Terry, after having just survived being dead and losing everyone he loved, including his mother, who's very much dead right now, those are pretty big commitments to ask from him. And I don't know, I really like that. I think it's an interesting idea. um, I don't know. It's an interesting and believable place to take his character, and it's probably just a little too heavy for anything the television show could do. So I'm glad we're getting into those deeper themes and ideas here in the comic. And I don't know. I'm trying to think, because leaving or introducing Ra's al Ghul into Batman Beyond again. It seems like I trust Jurgens enough. Um, I'm on the fence about Jurgens as a writer overall, but I trust him enough to know what he's doing, setting up a story like this and using Ra's al Ghul at the same time. I feel like he is very aware of what he is trying to say. Okay. 2 more books to go. 2 books to go. Darth Maul! All the Star Wars fans go, eee! I'm waiting for the E's in the comments before I begin. Oh. How is this? There's the E's. There we go. Eh. Oh, man. It's just okay, guys. You know, I was talking with Cav about this. Cullen Bunn is serviceable with a lowercase s. Okay, so for the Star Wars fans I have in the comments, don't fucking tell me about Rebels. I don't know. And 2, Cat Bane. I was more excited about Cad Bane than anything else in this book, to be perfectly honest, we haven't seen Cad Bane since Clone Wars, as far as I could tell. So I was very pleased to see Cad Bane. This is odd because this is before he got really popular, or got notable. Let me say. Um, we do get one cool scene between Maul and Sidious at that like Sith temple. It's like a flashback scene where Maul is meditating and remembering this. Um, when Maul experiences the slaughter of the Sith by Jedi. That was kind of interesting. Oh, neat little reference. Gracchus the Hutt shows up. So that was cool. I was pleased to see Gracchus. And it makes sense for him to show up where he does, because we have a criminal, an organized criminal, auctioning off a Jedi Padawan, and Gracchus the Hutt, being the Jedi fetishist that he is, would totally be there. So I thought that was really cool. And Maul really hates the Jedi. That's entirely his character. So cool. Okay, issue. I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna try not to make it sound mean, but I'm really glad it's a mini. Not looking forward to the new Darth Vader book. Joel, I can show you the scene of the flashback by going to the comic shop and buying the book. Now, like Sidious, I guess, destroys some of the ash of one of the preserved bodies and forces it into Maul's lungs, and this gives him a force vision. And yeah, so we see a Jedi Sith war. Red's complaining about the idea of the Jedi killing the Sith, and it was supposed to involve the Mandalorians. To be perfectly fair, there's a lot of figures shrouded in darkness here, so it's hard to tell if it's exactly the Jedi. It could entirely be possible that's a misdirect, but I assumed it was the Jedi. Though I cannot say for certain. Yeah, that's all I got. Just an okay issue. Cullen Bunn is lowercase s serviceable. I think that's the fairest way to say it. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the last thing from this week. Captain America, Sam Wilson, Captain America. No, not Sam Wilson, sorry. Steve Rogers, Captain America, number 14. Okay, so what happens? Flashback Steve Rogers meets Eliza, and she is incredibly nice. Taskmaster and Black Ant are with present Eliza as she goes on Nick Fury Avengers recruiting, but for evil purposes. And we get entirely too many scenes of her doing this shit as she builds I will bring with me a gift, the new High Council of Hydra. So that's what all that led up to. And then we get more flashbacks, Steve, as we reveal that Eliza is Madam Hydra. Some kind of mystic. I don't really know. She's freaked you out. Oh. Anyway. Stuff with Captain Marvel and this planetary shield. Obi-Wan Kenobi reference. Past Eliza. And then Red Skull. This issue was 100% plot. And yeah, that much of it, more than half of it, was unnecessary padding. Exactly half of it was unnecessary padding. So, and the rest of it was just more shit with the shield. She's like, oh, it's a really strong shield. Cap's gonna work behind the scenes to undermine it. And oh, Eliza is the one that sets Steve on a battle course with Red Skull. Just beyond the point of caring. I just don't find it all that interesting anymore. It's like he's trying to get away from the politics, and the politics are the thing that's good, and then when he does the politics, they're poor politics. That's just my thoughts. What do you think of the comic, Danny? Let's get the Lizard's thoughts, shall we? Lizard reviews. Oh, sorry to disturb you. I don't know, y'all. Any questions about the books this week, or just random things you wanted to know my thoughts on? And go for a minute or two. Probably not going to go too late. It's almost 10. Need to sit down and do all the other stuff. Red says, why are you still reading Spencer's stuff? I mean, I get that he's good at sometimes, but just drop it if the point of personally offense. It doesn't really offend me. Like one issue I thought was pretty disgusting, but like I don't know what he's doing anymore. It started out with a very clear message, and he seems to be asking interesting questions, but I don't really know what answers he's trying to give, or if he's just leading me on. It's just because it started so strong, and I want to see where it's going and what he has to say, but at the same time, it's got like a lot of really awkward I don't know what to call it. It's just awkward in places. I have considered dropping it, but I don't know. I just don't know. Ever go and do a Geeky Gentleman on Kong Skull Island? Maybe not. Philip Kelton says, what do you think about my suggestion of Sith taking power from alternate forms of passions? Yes, please do that. Or you know what? You know what you can do? Instead of that, you can go read Green Lantern. Because it's exactly what the emotional spectrum is. Any plans to do more mini Geeky Gentleman episodes on villains and stuff? The Freeze one was cool. DPZ told me he did that just because he wanted an excuse to talk Mr. Freeze, but still you could do more. Red, you'll be happy to know we are starting a series of Geeky Gentlemen, not on villains, but character profiles. I've got one in the can now. I need to take some time, get some gameplay footage before I can post it. I've played Sonic Colors, or not Sonic Colors. I've played Sonic Generations a lot on this channel. Just a quick poll here, or in the comments after the fact, since this will have a couple days. Would people like to see gameplay footage from Sonic Generations or Sonic Colors attached to a video about Sonic the Hedgehog? For those that care, or just whichever. Kuma Ranger, would you say Hydra Cap is one more interesting villain in recent years? He's not really a villain, is the thing. He's done nothing villainous. He's just like, ooh, I have a secret plan to overthrow Hydra. Okay, isn't that what you do anyway? So no, he's not an interesting villain because he's not a villain. Could a Yellow Lantern be a hero? Yeah, because Batman could have been a Yellow Lantern. Going to get the other Marvel Darth Vader comic taking place 1 second after Revenge of the Sith that's coming out soon. I'm considering it, but it's going to be Bunn, and I just don't care about that guy. Okay, so Joel, you didn't answer the question. Sonic Colors or Sonic Generations? Oh, it's Soul. Okay, that makes me slightly more excited, but at the same time, he's really, really hit and miss. Just, yeah, there you go, Red. It's the exact same problem with a different writer. Oh, man. Oh. Have Pac-Man footage in my Sonic the Hedgehog video. Why not? I could just play the Geeky Gentleman logo like a million times. Philip, what have you learned from being a cat owner? Since you're Danny's biggest fan. You guys, I wish live comments stayed because it was pretty funny to see Philip Kelton leaving comments on Danny's live stream. Oh, Akuma Ranger wants an update on Enterprise. Oh my. Okay, so like there's one episode where Hoshi, the communications director, has to go through the teleporter, and they're really nervous about being teleported since not many humans have done it. She has to go through the teleporter, and apparently like she gets lost in the buffer for like 8 seconds, but experiences a whole episode's worth of an adventure in between. And literally like nothing in the episode leads anywhere to any kind of greater character arc for her or has any bearing on anything else in the series. It is a completely pointless episode. It is the definition of the word skippable, which was pretty funny. And then I just watched another episode yesterday where like a Klingon, it's to do with like the Klingon legal system and stuff. And like an old Klingon lawyer gets held in contempt and goes to jail on what is it, dilithium crystals mining planet, and he's like, "No, I'm gonna get out, and I'm gonna fight to change the legal system on the Klingon legal system." But what you got to remember is Enterprise takes place before the original series, which that means, of course, it takes place before the original series films, including Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country. And in Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, we see the Klingon legal system, and nothing has changed. So the old Klingon lawyer either died in prison or got out and fought to change the legal system and had absolutely no effect. Oh man. Red says, "Do you think Hoshi would get a character thing?" Dude, her and Tucker get nothing ever. Yeah, they really don't. Tucker gets an outrageous accent. I don't know, man. Maybe he did. They're talking about maybe the Klingon helped some people. I doubt it. I severely doubt it. Oh, wait. Are you telling me that Worf's grandpa is in Star Trek 6? Wow, I never thought of that. That has to do with how I watched everything, though, because I actually watched original series, all of the original series movies, new Next Generation, all the Next Generation movies, then Deep Space Nine, then Voyager. So that's why. That's funny. What can you do? Don't you close your eye at me. Oh well. I think that's going to do it for me as I continue to complain about Star Trek Enterprise. Um, everyone, thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Comic Reviews. Danny is gonna say goodbye to the people of the internet. Say goodbye, Danny. Goodbye, Danny.